Philadelphia, Mississippi. Little bonus coverage now as we stay in the heavyweight division. Augustine Corpus of Monterrey, Mexico, and Obed Sullivan, who lives down the road in Gulfport, Mississippi. Sullivan with the edge and experience. He has had 46 fights, won 37 of them with a couple of draws, 27 knockouts along the way, and Corpus falls rich into that category of opponent.
Yeah, just a journeyman fighter. Has been around. He's fought some pretty good guys along the way, but even so, Obed Sullivan has not only fought some good guys, he's beaten some good guys, has been a ranked fighter, and seems to be on the upswing after the disaster that he had last year against David Tua when he was knocked out in 1 round by David Tua. But as we've seen from John Ruiz, you can rise from the ashes from a 1-round KO by David Tua and still go on to great things, and that's what Obed Sullivan probably has in mind.
I'm sure it does, and this is just a stepping stone fight for him. He last fought in January, fought a guy named Jesus Valadez, and stopped him in 4 rounds. That following a draw with Larry Donald.
Well, that's a pretty good mark on his record for Obed Sullivan. Donald's a very good fighter and a tough boxer. And Sullivan, even after that Tua disaster, was able to rise to the occasion against Larry Donald and come up with that draw.
Let's go. Get out of there.
Corpus, on the other hand, has been in there with some guys you might have heard of. Duncan Dakawari, who we used to see quite a lot here on the Sunday night fights. Calvin Lampkin, some journeyman guys.
All in all, though, I saw Obed Sullivan quite a bit in his early fights, Barry, and I thought he was headed for really great things. So I think what he's accomplished so far has still fallen short of what many of us thought was possible with him.
I think a very talented fighter.
Obed, 33 years old, and like Ray Mercer, a veteran of the armed forces. He was 8 years in the Marines.
Our main event, of course, already in the books, that with a knockout victory by Ray Mercer, who just handled every minute of his fight with Don Steele. Showed that he is indeed ready to take that next step in the heavyweight division. And here's a guy we're watching right now, Obed Sullivan, who's trying to do pretty much that same thing.
Obed did have a chance at the WBO title when it was held by Vitaly Klitschko, but he was TKO'd by Klitschko in 7 rounds. He just really didn't do much at all in that fight. Just kind of stood out there till they stopped the fight.
Was putting a little pressure on Sullivan here, trying to crowd him, keep him in close quarters. On the left, just keep him up. Corpus at least has come in here with an idea about how he wants to win this fight. And in the first round, not doing a bad job of it. Really not giving Sullivan any punching room. End of 1. Welcome back. Round number 2. Augustine Corpus in the black trunks. Obed Sullivan in the gold. Sullivan, former Marine, is Semper Fi on his trunks. Sean O'Grady's with us ringside. You've seen Obed Sullivan more than a few times.
Yeah, I've had my eye on him for a long time. He really is a schooling fighter. In fact, he's recently employed Curtis Coates, former welterweight champion of the world, in his camp, trying to pick up a few more things. He really enjoys learning the sport, learning the craft, learning the art of boxing. A real nice, amiable kid.
Yes, he is. One big difference between he and Ray Mercer is that when Mercer was in the service, he got a great amateur experience. He was the All-Army champion, the All-Services champion. On the other hand, Obed Sullivan didn't box much when he was in the Marines and had relatively few fights compared to a guy like Ray Mercer. So he was learning on the job as a pro.
Good body work from Corpus.
Yeah, Corpus really fighting this fight on his terms thus far. It looks like he wants to crowd Sullivan, and he's done so with some success.
Augustine is going to the Corpus.
He's trying to prove he's not just a Corpus in there for Obed Sullivan.
He also is getting a point taken away, though, for using his head.
Sean, what about the aspect of a fighter like Sullivan, who is accustomed to fighting not only 10-rounders, but a lot of 12-rounders, and now being thrust into a 6-round fight here.
That's very difficult. You got to start faster. You know, it's like a thoroughbred racehorse that goes a long distance comparatively speaking, to a quarter horse who runs a short distance. In these short fights, you got to start earlier, and the rounds go by quicker. So you really got to build up, not a whole lot of time to build up a fight plan, but you got to start in that opening round. Only 6 rounds. Wow. That sure goes by fast for a solid 12-round fighter.
There's another one straight low from Corpus. Now Sullivan opening up a little bit.
Sullivan's got to open up. Look at the aggression from Augustine. He has been the one putting the pressure on. Judges give credence to somebody who forces the action. Augustine also, when he throws his right hand, he jabs with his left, and he throws his right hand and steps over with his back foot. It doesn't give him any power in that right hand, but it certainly gets him inside quickly, rapidly. Now, if Sullivan can key on that, he'll catch Augustine rushing in like that, add a little bit more force to the power of the blow.
Good body shot by Sullivan. Backed Corpus right up as we come to the end of round number 2. And remember that Corpus lost a point in this round, so it could be a 2-point round for Sullivan. This is round number 3, and again, Corpus trying to fight his fight in close quarters. He did pretty well with it in the first round. I thought he got beat at it in the second round.
Really fighting a rough style, too.
You know,
what Sullivan's got to do is use his uppercuts because of the way that Corpus is leaning over like that right there. Come on, bring in an uppercut that'll make him stand up and quit rushing in like that. Nice work from Corpus, though. Augustine doing just what he wants to do in that exchange. Move inside with his head. Form boxing. You put your head on your opponent's chest.
I think that's the key, Sean. He had a game plan coming in here, and he's carrying it out against what most would consider, you know, a superior fighter.
Well, you know what? Obed can box. He's a great boxer. He fights well from the outside. He has some good hard punches, and he maneuvers around. He's got great balance. 27 KOs in his 37 wins. So you know he knows what he's doing in there. He's confused by this smothering attack from Corpus.
One thing he is doing, though, is continuing to use his head. He had a point taken away for that in the last round.
There's some pretty nifty little inside work being done by Obed Sullivan there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He's a pro. Oh, good right cross from Corpus.
Corpus trying to use that uppercut. There he got Sullivan. He's got Sullivan in a little bit of trouble.
Sullivan's hurt. He's on wobbly legs. He is tying up.
Step back.
Almost breaks him.
Well, this is shocking, guys. I mean, Corpus is 8-10.
That is how important a fight plan is to any boxer, especially in this heavyweight division. You go in there and you know about your opponent, you know exactly what you can do and what you expect to do in that fight. Augustine Corpus had a plan, and he's carrying it out.
He's busting up Sullivan a little bit.
Corpus got hit with a body shot, and now Sullivan jumps on him. A lot of blood from the right eye of Obed Sullivan. And remember, too, that Corpus lost a point in the last round in a short fight. That could really affect the outcome.
Good couple of hooks. Nice short chopping punches from Corpus.
That was quite a round of action. Both guys got their licks in and during the course of the round, but sucking it up for this one big flurry was Augustine Corpus, chasing Sullivan into the corner.
And again, Corpus gets there with a right hand that backs Sullivan up for the moment.
Oh, that hurts. You can feel that.
They've both been doing some pretty good work inside.
Step back, don't punch, don't punch.
Sullivan's starting to do some work that gets Corpus out of there.
What a draining fight for these two. They'll both be so tired tomorrow. They'll both sleep well tonight.
I'm sure Sullivan came into this fight, you know, look at, maybe I can be a reclamation kind of a project because I've got my career going again. I got the draw with Larry Donald. I got a win in my last fight. Here's a guy, he's 8-10. I'll walk over him and move on to the next guy.
Well, how surprising.
Yeah. He may win it, but he's going to feel it. And walk over, not exactly the terminology I'd use on it.
Oh. Body shot from Corpus. Staying downstairs. Augustine landing.
I kind of find it hard to believe that Augustine has got an 8-10 record.
It is hard to believe, isn't it? Maybe he's just one of those guys who just never gave himself a chance to win.
Maybe he was saying 10 and 8.
Get out of there. Don't punch, don't punch. Let's go.
Oh, good uppercut. Good uppercuts from Augustine. You know, he's been tasting those uppercuts. Now he's giving them back. Oh.
Counter right hand by Sullivan. And another. And now it's Sullivan.
Break it clean. Step back. Step back. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, with that elbow. Up that elbow.
There's been a lot of action amongst the heavyweights tonight.
Yeah, there hasn't been much boxing, you know, boxing skill. They all wanted to brawl.
Yeah.
I know Obed Sullivan has got some terrific boxing skill, but he's fighting Augustine's game. That's a good left hook from Obed.
Coming to the end of round number 4, and this round has been a war also. They're coming back. Well, mysteriously, Augustine Corpus has quit.
He may have just run out of gas over there in the corner. He gave it a hard 4 rounds.
And I'm so surprised why he has a 10 and now 11-3 record. he was winning this fight, wasn't he?
Well, I had him down, but only by a point, actually. But right in there with Obed.
Obed took some shots. Look at the marks there underneath both eyes. His nose a little bit swelled.
That's very strange because Corpus did not look like he was tiring particularly, did not seem to be particularly hurt. That was caught in large part on a glove.
But it drove him back. Sullivan has the greater power between the two. He was able at times to drive the man back, but Augustine Corpus landed several clean blows throughout the course of the fight, and I'm sure Obed Sullivan wasn't too happy about it.
Yeah, not a kind of win he's going to want to put in a time capsule. Here's Mark Bureau to make it official.
Ladies and gentlemen, the red corner has retired before the start of the 5th round. Therefore, the winner by technical knockout in the 4th round, Obed Sullivan.
Well, Obed Sullivan runs his record of 38 up and 7 down with a couple of draws, and this may be a fight he remembers. This was tough.
Yeah, he may be figuring, look, if you're going to get me in there with a guy that fights this tough, you might as well be a big name rather than some guy with a losing record.
Yeah, he's going to feel that. I don't think there's any question about it, but he'll take it nonetheless, as it does give him his 38th victory. So Obed Sullivan notches 1.